Hello, welcome to Hobby Evolution. This is so I don't like where the camera's at here. Let's go there. Okay, I like that view a little bit better. What is up? Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. Hopefully the Wi-Fi signal is a little stronger out here in front of the ball wall as opposed to the dungeon that is the card room. It's Thursday. I feel a little out of sorts when I'm in here. Like this isn't where I'm supposed to be type of feel, and it's like uncomfortable. It's like the first show, the first episode of Hobby Evolution. What am I going to talk about? You're in a strange place. I feel like I'm in a strange place, and I don't know. When I'm in the card room, it's just all natural. But here, it's different. It's different here. I don't know what to do. Jenny's in the house. What is up, Jenny? She's here for 20 minutes. The answer. So we're going to talk about card shows, and that's been a topic of hot debate this week because there's three really big shows. There's three really big shows this weekend. Burbank, California, put on by Rob at Burbank. There's a big show in Denver. And the show in New York, which do they call that one the East Coast National? I'm not familiar, but so there's three really, really big shows. So we're going to talk about that. And there's been a lot of hot debate on why there are so many card shows on the same weekend. And the answers are really simple. I wrote down, I did my homework. And I came prepared. Breakout cards. Ryan Nolan had had a tweet about it yesterday. There was some great commentary back and forth, and I wanted to kind of add my personal take because, from an outside standpoint, 18 months ago I had no idea what it took to run a card show. I just thought, well, you call the local hotel. Hey, I want to book a room. I want to do it on this date. Here's the money. Take the money from the dealers. Call it a day. It's not that easy. So I'm gonna share why it's not easy, and I'm gonna share why there just happens to be so many dang card shows on the same weekend. So let's get back in the chat. Bear with me. My Wi-Fi signal is probably much stronger out here, and I'm only 20 feet away from the card dungeon. But I've got windows to the right of me, Wi-Fi to the left of me. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Terry, good morning. Ed is with us. Dan, what is up? Listening to Herman and Dr. Beckett in the morning before Hobby Evolution. What a great way to start the day. That is awesome. Jenny says the hoodie color pops in the room. Awesome. Great quality. Thank you. I did nothing to the Wi-Fi. I just moved my setup to a different room. Fall Creek says, oh my God, I feel like I walk into an occupied open bathroom door. Baseball Collector, what is up, Mike? By the way, I was just listening right before I went on. I was, and it ended perfectly. The video I was watching, it was Mike, had Dr. Jim Beckett on. Dan was listening to Herman and Dr. Beckett. I was listening to Mike Moynihan and Dr. Beckett. They had a great conversation. There were some points at the end that I may have as a topic in a future show regarding kind of the state of the hobby and comps. Comparing, what I mean by comps is comparing this era to the junk wax era. And I have many thoughts that I won't dive into that rabbit hole today, but I'll save that for another day. So awesome. That was an awesome video. Check it out on Golden Age of Cardboard, Mike and Dr. Beckett. Jenny says there's four big ones then because there's also Madison at 125 tables. Yeah, and there's three big ones. And what I consider big is like more than 200 to 250 tables. Like I think once you get over that, that's a big show. 200 plus tables, that's a really big show. Anything under that, I'd say 100 to 200 is a good sized show, medium sized, and then under 100 tables, and I guess it kind of depends. You can have 20 table shows. That would be a small show. 75 tables is good size. I mean, I thought when I started the Madison card show, I was like, I had dreams of a 50 table show. And here we are, bursting at the seams. 125 tables, which, by the way, my show is this weekend also, as Jenny pointed out. 125 tables at the Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, this Saturday. Show runs from 9 to 3. It's free admission and 125 tables. I'm excited. I've got like what I really like about my show is that I have so much turnover, but in a good way. Like I have regulars, but some are like, oh, I'm going to do this show. I'm going to do that show. And it works out that I can get new dealers in, which I think is very beneficial to customers that come to the show. Because otherwise, if you have a monthly show and it's the same dealers every month, you don't get the customers coming back. Well, so-and-so is there every single month, so I can come back. Now, I like having the regulars there because the regulars that I do have on a monthly basis have awesome stuff. But it's nice that when somebody, skips a month, it opens up a spot for somebody new. And I've had like Sean come in from Kansas City. The Zone came down from Fargo, North Dakota. Several come in from Minneapolis. I get several come up from Chicago, Iowa. So it's a nice little mix. And I think this month I might have again like close to the most first-time dealers at my show. And I'm excited. I have a vintage pre-war dealer that's coming in from Chicago. I actually met him last May at the Wisconsin Dell show and bought, this is the story. I'm sure I've shared it in 657 episodes. But at it might have been the second Dell show. Because my friend who also sets up at my show was set up there, and I had to borrow cash because the ATM was out. So I met David is the vendor's name, and had a ton of like basically pre-52 stuff, and he might have had more like vintage 50s and 60s, but it was generally tobacco cards, early 1900s cards up to like Gaudi's, and I had bought, I think, a Johnny Evers T206. I bought a Gaudi and something else. And I think another tobacco, maybe a T205. And I bring limited. I don't carry much cash on me at a card show, which, I mean, back then I didn't as much as I do now. But I had to borrow cash from my buddy Mark. But I was trying to sell him on the Madison card show, and he's like, yeah, I'll have to check it out. And he reached out last month wanting to set up, and I didn't have space. I'm like, oh. But I followed up with him, and I'm like, hey, I have space, because I wanted to get him in because I want to buy some of his cards. I want to buy some of his Cubs pre-war stuff. So I'm excited. I've gone through my latest Goodwill palette. So I need to restock some bulk. So I'll be shopping some bargain boxes. I will also this Saturday at the Madison Card Show be picking up my very first grading submission. I submitted 5 cards to SGC. I think I've only told 1 or 2 people the results. I was really disappointed in one. I was semi-disappointed in another. I expected 2, and then I was really happy with 1. So, and I'll tell you why. And it may not have to do with the actual number grade. So I'll do a video when I pick them up this Saturday, and I'll do a video this weekend on my very first grading submission. It took over 800,000 Cubs cards collected before I submitted one. Now I have several slabs in my collection. I just don't actively, until last month, submit cards. Abraham is with us. I hope to see Abraham this weekend at the Madison Card Show. Dan, what is up? My God, this connection looks amazing. And I'm still in the basement. I'm still in the basement. I'm just outside of the card dungeon. David, what is up? Mark Hoyle is here. This the Breaks is with us. Zach and Porter. I will be seeing Zach and Porter this Saturday. Victor's going to be in to the Madison Card Show this Saturday. It's going to be a blast. Let's see. Where's Cooter? Cooter's probably recovering from the Black Crowes concert. Bowen 4DK. Herman, what is up? This the Break says there's a 250 table show in Colorado. Yes, it's in Denver. And I think it might be more than that. I think it might be 400. So there's 3 big card shows. And maybe did I misspeak on the 3? There's Burbank, Denver, and the East Coast National. Those are the 3 big shows this weekend. And then there's, my show's 125 tables. Kansas City has a show, and I think it's 150 tables. So there are there's 2 shows in the Chicago area. They're around 100 tables, a little under 100 tables each. Paige and Deanie Bean, good morning to you. Zach says Bo went from cable access to TV to a prime time. Makeup too nice. Makeup. This is Dove Men body wash and probably Dove Men shampoo that I wear. The alter ego is here. Jenny says today is the reality. Summer is coming to an end. Minnesota State Fair opened an hour ago, and that's the icing to the end of summer. Yes, I've seen many back to school photos on Facebook. My garden is dying. Grasshoppers are out. Grasshoppers are like it's the smells I mentioned yesterday. You can smell the end of summer. It smells like back to school. There's just that smell. It's going to follow you the rest of your life. I smell that smell and it's like, oh, back to school. Grasshoppers are back. Days are getting shorter, but I'm looking forward to it. We had a nice summer run. Now I'm going to hang out in my base. I don't have, back in June, I was probably less productive because I was out watering my lawn half the day, not half the day, but I'd take an hour and go outside, water the lawn. I didn't do enough bike rides though this summer. That was one thing going into, I need to break up and balance. There were a couple times where it's like work, even though I'm playing with baseball cards, it's still like work. Anything you do over and over and over again, whether it's a hobby or a business, you're going to get tired of it. You're going to get burned out. And I had I'd burn out a couple times. Wife told me, go for a bike ride. And that helped. But I didn't get on the bike as much. And that was something I wanted to break up, little work-life balance, go for more bike rides. And I mentioned that to my buddy because he went into work for himself as a financial advisor a few years ago. And he said that was something that, the first year was tough because he just had to constantly go work-wise. So I'm like, I'm going to avoid that. And I didn't really avoid that. I had planned on doing a bike ride every Friday. Like Friday was going to be my breakaway day. But in reality, I'd get Goodwill pallets. I'd get behind on shipping. Fridays are a bad day for when I have one Friday a month is my card show prep day for my show, making sure the venue's set up the way it should be, putting out name tags, doing all that. And if I'm setting up at a card show, I might be putting together bargain boxes. So Fridays are kind of tough. Mark, good morning to you. He loved Mike's conversation with Dr. Beckett. It was spot on. I love those types of shows. And I've told Rich Klein, I could listen to Rich Klein and Dr. Beckett just talk about cards, food. They could talk about food. I enjoy food talk. But I could listen to a podcast on repeat with those two. This the Break says, I got to admit, in the basement, you look like a mad scientist, but upstairs you're normal on cam. I'm actually only like 20 feet away. I'm still in the basement. I'm not sure what a mad scientist looks like. It might be the red shirt. Maybe it's the red shirt making me look like a mad scientist. Mark says, great concert talk last night in the chat. So we had a chat. There's a few of us in a direct message chat on Twitter. We were talking about our first concerts when our parents didn't drag us to. So mine was probably Diamond Rio at the FFA National Convention in 1996. My first concert that I chose was Kid Rock and Seven Dust. That was a couple years later, probably in 1998, whenever Kid Rock became popular. That's not why I went. I was a big Seven Dust fan. But Kid Rock, I'll admit, put on a great show. And then we also talk about the drunkest we ever got at a concert. I'll save that story for the private messages. That was Pearl Jam 2003. Let's see. Fall Creek Collectibles says the best state fair anywhere. I have never been to a state fair because I grew up in Illinois, and the Illinois State Fair is in Springfield, which from where I grew up, Springfield, even though it's like in the center of Illinois, it was still how many hours? 3.5 hours probably from where I grew up. So it wasn't like a destination. I went to the county fairs. The Henry County Fair was my big one. But here in Wisconsin, I think it's in West Bend. Wisconsin State Fair, never been. I haven't even been to the Dane County Fair, which is on John Nolan Drive, right across the street from the Sheraton Hotel. I've never been there. I've been to Bratfest a couple times, but I've never been to the Dane County Fair. Jenny says he's on the same level of his house, literally a sneeze away from his card room, and his quality is this different. It's crazy. It's crazy. Victor, there's Victor. Good morning to you. Bo looks like someone who teaches you to go and invest in slabs versus his other setup that tells you how to invest in Goodwill pallets. It's a stark contrast. It is, isn't it? I had a friend who doesn't watch like these videos. He'll like every once in a while, he'll see like the picture of me, or like he'll pop on and he saw a video, and it might've been the interview I did with Ty on Bench Clear Media. And he's like, your background when you're in the rec room looks way better than the baseball card room, because it's just the baseball card room's a mess, but that's who I am in there. That's what I love. That's what I do. A lot of those are bargain. Actually, what you see in the background in the card room is mostly Cubs cards. Beyond the Bowman U wall, those are all Cubs cards, which I did update my count. 800. Where am I at? 829,000. I think 600. Let's see. What's the updated count? 829,606. And actually, I have a few more. My mailbox, I hadn't picked up the mail in a while. My mailbox was pretty stuffed. Cooter, got your package. Thank you. I have not opened it. I've got 5 packages. And then I still have some, like, remember that collection I bought for like $300 at the Rockford show back in like May? I still have stuff that I haven't, like, I've gone through most of it. I think all but like some like complete set in binders. Like we're talking like 93 tops, 92 tops. So I need to go through, pull like some stars to list on eBay, and then pull the Cubs. So there's some of those. There's still some like junk. Like I haven't gone through all of the last Goodwill palette because it's like literal junk, but I've found hidden gems in literal junk. At the bottom of this box, there could be Kobe Bryant rookies and top loaders. There was a reusable bag that was like dirty. There was like leaves or something in the bottom of it, but there were 2 Kobe Bryant rookie cards in top loaders, so they were in good condition. They sold for $50 each, and they were in a crappy, ugly, nasty, gross. I had to wash my hands after going through that bag. So I do have a couple of those boxes still to go through. So I'll have my hand sanitizer on the ready. Victor says, wow, your video is on 4K this morning. Oh, man, all these comments about my video, it's like now I'm going to have to just come out here every day. Going to have Victor in the house on John Nolan Drive this weekend. Porter and this guy, Zach, that Porter allows to come along. Victor is going to make it this weekend. Herman says, that's why I skip every other show in Spartanburg, meaning about the same dealers being there every month. And that's kind of what I was when there was a small show here in Madison before the Madison card show. And it was, I don't know, 15 tables, 20 tables max. But there was no room to walk around. It was the same dealers every month because it was such a small show. And I only went every, 2 or 3 months. I set up one time, and that was it. I had bargain boxes, and you couldn't two people couldn't get through the walkway at the same time. You had to bunch up, and it was just not ideal. And that's one of the reasons why I felt there was a need here to have a bigger, at least more space card show. Dan says, do you ever run any sort of contest or reward type program for your dealers? I do not. I do not. And there's actually, I'll probably have some news about next year's Madison card show. And it may not be good news. It may be great news. It may be bad news. So I'll just leave it at that. It's a big reason why I do everything I can to make your show. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Jenny ran out of business cards. I will need a big stack by September 24th, please, for the Minneapolis area 60 table show. Awesome. I sent Jenny a bunch of Madison card show business cards so she can hand out in the Minneapolis area. And I think it's worked because I have received an uptick more than usual from Minnesota dealers. Cooter, what is up? Wow, Bo has facial features. No max headroom today. It's like 10 minutes away from me. Let's see. Abraham says, Lauren and I are coming to the Madison Card Show on John Nolan Drive, completing a TCDB trade in person. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Ed says, embrace fall. It's the best season here in New England. Oh man, I'm trying to. I'm 40 and I still hate fall. But I am looking forward to football season. I've been looking at the college schedule, the NFL schedule. I think there's a game on tonight. So an NFL game on tonight, some college games on Saturday. So I am looking forward to football season. Terry says the last time I graded was years ago when PSA charged about $13. The high cost is currently keeping me from doing more. It's come down. What is the low? I think it's as low as, is it in the 20s now for PSA? I know it had dipped to 30, but I think it's even less than that now. Let's see. A friend that started her own business in 2007 said basically the first 4 years you just work your butt off and don't start seeing real profits. But now 15 years later, she doesn't work and makes money. That's awesome. That's the American dream right there. From her staff working, any thoughts on that? That's essentially that's an entrepreneur's dream when you can take a step back, say from my standpoint, what I do, I'm out buying cards. I'm listing cards. I'm shipping cards, doing all of this. And eventually you want to grow. The first step for me, once I get to that point, is to hire somebody on a part-time basis to do the shipping. That gives me more time to list, more time, more items to ship, more work for them, and just expand out that way. So yeah, that's essentially what you want to do in business. For some reason, I thought the ball wall was upstairs. No, there's not really anything baseball related upstairs. Everything is consumed to the basement, which I like. Let's see. Because my upstairs office was originally, when we built the house, my wife's office, because I was still working at the office. I was, still working for the company I worked for. So that was her office. And then when COVID hit, I worked from home and I took over her office. We turned one of our spare bedrooms on the very top floor into a office, and that's her office. I have an office on the main floor. She has one on the second floor, and then the basement is the rec room and card room. Victor's first concert was Madonna in the 90s. New episode of Chasing Cardboard comes out tonight. I'm excited. There's a lot of content that's come out in the last 24 hours that our friend John Keating put out a video yesterday. I need to watch that. I just finished up Mike's chat with Dr. Beckett. What else? There was Sports Card Radio has some more Fallout videos that it's like a car crash that I always want to watch. So some good stuff. Zach and Porter says Wisconsin, West Alice. I knew it was West something. West Alice. Mark says Herman and Dr. Beckett and Mike and Dr. Beckett were my ride home yesterday. Both great. That's awesome. Warrior Cards wants to know, is this a new channel? I know. It's like boom. Let's see. Jenny's excited for Chasing Cardboard. Your stream looks like we went from VHS to 4K. Dystemic, what is up? Good morning to you. I don't miss an episode of Chasing Cardboard. I absolutely love it. Speaking of Chasing Cardboard, a show that's similar, actually not really similar, but I was comparing it to American Pickers because it's very similar to American Pickers in regards to cards. But American Pickers is a show that I enjoy, along with the show Storage Wars. Now, about 2 weeks ago, in a Facebook group, there was a guy who bought a storage unit. He has a, I say actually a lot. He has a very large YouTube following, Grimes Finds. So he bought this storage unit, and it had a bunch of cards, and he paid like $2,000. And there's several $100,000 likely in cards that he found, which now, watching Storage Wars and there's some production that goes into that. And I think there was some controversy on, they may have planted items in the storage units. So I've always had a curiosity on storage units, and it's the what if, it's the gamble, it's the excitement, it's the picking. It's like why I search through bargain boxes. So I saw an ad, yes, not an ad, but it popped up in one of my marketplace feeds on Facebook. There's a storage auction here locally next week, so I may go down and check it out. When I looked, it showed, I think there's 20 units up for auction. And so I looked through, and I'm, expanding to see, can I see any inkling of what looks like a 4 or 5 row baseball card box. There were a couple where it looks like it's, maybe a general contractor or a painter or a mechanic, because it was a lot of like tools and stuff like that, which I have no interest in. I about have the capacity that I use tools is a hammer and one flathead screwdriver and one Phillips head screwdriver. That's about all that I can handle. So I don't have any interest in that stuff, but I was looking, there was one unit that had like board games and stuff, and I'm like, that has potential. So it's hard to see. And I know like in storage unit auctions, you can only like go to the line and, peek in, and what's way back against the wall back there, you have no idea because you can't see. You're not allowed to go in. So I may go down just to like view and kind of see how it works, because it does look interesting. Don't tell my wife. Let's see. Jenny says, okay, gotta head out. Have a great day. Make sure Bo lists soccer cards and basketball cards and Pokemon and hockey. I was going through yesterday, listing. Was putting together some lists for my bulk uploads the next couple days, and I found some hockey cards that had potential. There was like a Fleer Ultra Scoring Kings Mark Messier, and I'm like, Scoring Kings in basketball are, could be valuable. And it's like, I don't know, $3 card, $4 card. Then there were some rookies from Fleer Metal 2016. There was a player that I'd never even heard of, Mitch Marner. But I did not have one. But I had I think a Matthew Tkachuk rookie, Fleer Metal, and then there were a couple other guys that I'd never heard of, but they seemed like they sold for a few bucks. So I almost said actually again, I may list some hockey. So we'll see. Terry says, I've been in Minnesota for 18 years and haven't been to the fair yet. Zach says, expert tip, you should be washing your hands after every bag from Goodwill, not just the dirty one with leaves. That's actually a very good point. That is a very good point. Dystemic says, Terry, I lived in Minnesota for 30 years. I went twice. Chasing Cardboard is great. I mean, your connection in the other room was better than the one Ken Golden has. Netflix will probably swing by to chat with you soon. Packer game tonight. That's what my neighbor. I was outside with the neighbor last night, and he golfed Whistling Straits yesterday. And he's like, "What'd you do?" He's like, "I golfed Whistling Straits." I'm like, "I was at Wrigley, watching the Cubs beat the Brewers, but then the Brewers beat the Cubs on Sunday." And he's like, "Oh yeah, the Packer game's on Thursday night, tomorrow night." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, whatever." So yes, it is the Pack. I'll probably have it on just because I'm kind of jonesing for some football. Dan says the special sub last month was $18 per card. Oh, that's right. The PSA, yeah, $18. Dystemic says, Bo, are you planning your next Mesa trip? Ooh, great question. Yes. We began talking about it this past weekend. So last year, I went with I didn't go with, but we all kind of traveled separately, did our own things, but we all would meet up for games and tailgate with Club 400. So I was with, that group on Sunday at the Cubs game on the rooftop, and we're starting to like plan dates where everybody can kind of, meet up there, go down around the same time. And it looks like we're going to plan around the World Baseball Classic. Pool play is in Phoenix for Group 1 or whatever at Chase Field. So I think it's like March 11th through the 15th. And I just saw last night Ken Griffey Jr. is going to be the hitting coach for Team USA. That is awesome. So I think I'm going to plan my trip around those dates. So I don't know exactly the dates yet, but I do know March 11th through the 15th is what they said the pool play was. So those days, so it looks like that's a Saturday through Wednesday. Which that's kind of because I like to go Tuesday through Tuesday. So I may go because the flights are cheapest on Tuesday. Tuesday and Wednesday, I think, is the cheapest flights. So I may fly out Wednesday or Thursday, do like a Wednesday to Wednesday or a Thursday to Thursday. So yeah, I may plan on March 9th through the 16th because I don't want to go too early. Because half the minor leaguers haven't reported. Not much is going on. Yeah. So maybe eyeballing it March 9th through the 16th is kind of what I would probably foresee. Let's see. Zach says, where are we at? Fall is the best season, leave no doubt. Good morning, Johnny Boy Cards. This The Breaks watches American Pickers. Ed says, I slept through concert chat last night. My first one was Kiss in 77. Rich says, Bo is out of the cellar and the feed is so much better. I know, it's so disappointing because I love being in the cellar. I feel at home in the cellar. And out here, I feel like where do I put my hands? I don't know what to do. You've already planned the trip, but you won't buy the airline ticket until the last week. Brilliant. I am. I'm smart like that. I cost myself $200 last year by, I'm going to go. What else did I do? I waited for something else. Oh, Cubs tickets last week. The last 2 weeks. I probably cost myself close to $100. Yeah, probably 60 or $70 because the first game that I went to, 2 weeks ago, the plan was I'm going to wait until after to buy all my Cubs tickets. I'm going to wait until after the trade deadline because the Cubs are going to trade Wilson Contreras. They're going to trade Ian Happ. People are going to be pissed and want to sell their tickets. So the ticket prices will drop. That didn't happen, which I'm glad. I love Happ. I love Contreras. I'm glad they're still Cubs, but it backfired and cost me some money because ticket prices didn't go down. And as the game got closer, the ticket prices actually went up, just like airline tickets. But I'm stubborn. And yeah, Cooter's right. I'll probably wait till the last. I'll probably cost myself $100. I have a hard time like booking trips. Now, my wife, on the other hand, she wants to book a trip like as soon as ticket prices go on sale, like boom, got it. She's a planner. I am not. I am fly by the seat of my pants. Cost me $200 on a damn plane ticket last year. So maybe that was a lesson learned. Dystemic said thought about World Baseball Classic, still probably going down Feb 26th through March 7th, and just sticking with A's camp for a day or two. Might look at later. So let's talk card shows. 35 minutes in, we'll talk about the topic of the day. Card shows. Why are there so many card shows on the same weekend? That's been a hot topic. It's been a hot topic the last couple of weeks because of this upcoming weekend. There are 3 really big shows across the nation. Hey, at least they're all like spread apart. New York, Colorado, California. It's not like they're all within a 3-hour drive. You know, you can't get much further than Suffern, New York, and Burbank, California. And you got Denver right there in the middle. And then here in the Midwest, we've got some decent shows. Madison Card Show, 125 tables, 150 down in Kansas City. There's plenty. And like I said, there's a show here in Madison, 125 tables. There's an 80 table show in Iowa City. There's a 100 table show in Rosemont, which is just 2 hours away. There's another 80 table show on the south side of Chicago. And I'm turning dealers away this week because I'm sold out. So there's demand. There's demand for all these card shows. And I'm sure Burbank and Denver and the East Coast National, I'm sure those shows are doing well as well, and the customers will turn out. So why, though? Why are these promoters scheduling them all on the same weekend? Well, it's not easy. And before I started promoting shows, I thought it was. It's like, oh, just call the hotel. Hey, is this date available? I want to book a card show. There's no other card shows in the area. Boom. So that's not what happens, unfortunately. If that's how easy it was, there would be a card show in every city every weekend if it was that easy. So Dan's going to bed. Good night, Dan. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Remember to not take the $100,000 box off screen before you break it. I heard like rumblings on what happened last night, but I haven't actually watched in regards to what the 86 Fleer basketball box. So we're talking card shows, why they're on the same weekend. So there's actually several things there. I said actually again. There's several things. You might have to take a drink every time I say the word actually, as opposed to John Nolan Drive. John says, ouch, that shirt, hunting season is here already. Does it look orange? It's red. It's Badger red. It might be the lighting in here. So venue dates. Okay. Shouldn't it be easy to look at a date? Hey, there's no card shows that weekend. I want to have my card show this weekend. In theory, absolutely, yes. Remember, there's only 4 weekends a month, sometimes 5. There's only 4 Saturdays, if it's a one-day show. There's only 4 weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that you can choose. And yeah, you can all collaborate and get together. There's a lot of egos involved when there's, money involved and promotions involved. So to get some of the guys on the same page, not easy. You may, it's nice when I get messages from vendors that say, hey, I just want to confirm, as opposed to, hey, I got to cancel. It's nice. Thank you, Mr. Vendor, for confirming. And it saves me the time to having to confirm. So you pick out a date. For my 2022 schedule at the Madison Card Show, and mine's I run it. Like, it's just me. I don't have to have volunteers. I don't have to have employees. It doesn't run itself, but it can be a one-man show. Like I'm actually take a drink. I'm now understanding what goes into a bigger show, because in October, I'm co-promoting the Midwest premiere in Loves Park, Illinois, which is just outside of Rockford. 250 tables, 2-day show. There's a lot that goes into it. And we're going to have volunteers and pay people to take admission and do other things. So pick a date. In my venue for the 2022 schedule, I scheduled it out, in some months it was a year plus out, because I had the schedule, I think in November, maybe, when I finalized the schedule. So November 2021, I had the schedule out for, January is only 2 months, but I had the November, December schedules mapped out a year in advance. So those dates are locked in. Not every venue has open dates. This past March, my ideal date, I don't want to run in the first week of the month, because that's the Oak Creek Card Show. Tony Gordon runs it. And half the dealers that do that show do my show. Tony does my show. So we don't want to, and that's his week, and he's been doing it a lot longer than the Madison show. So that's his week. The Rockford show, they're usually the second week. So don't want to, and same. We have a lot of dealers that do both. So I've got my pick basically of the third or fourth Saturday of each month. So that's when I decide to put my schedule together. But when I put my schedule together last November, March and November, even a year out, there were conflicting dates. They had already booked the March and November fourth Saturday of those months. So I had to run the Madison Card Show on the third Saturday in March and November, which is the same weekend as the Chicago Sports Spectacular, which about 8 of my dealers, possibly more, set up at that show. And it's a much bigger show. It's a weekend show. So obviously they're going to go do that show. That's not ideal. I do go to the Spectacular. The last one I went to, kind of like, it left a poor taste in my mouth, just the way it was organized. And the dealers I bought from, I didn't need to spend all the money on admission and parking and tolls and driving and all that. Anyway, that's not ideal. But hey, it's like, and I have dealers come up, why would you schedule it the same weekend as the Spectacular? It's like, here's the thing. If you're setting up at the Spectacular, you're not going to set up at the Madison Card Show. That's okay. If I scheduled the Madison, the other option is there's just no other Madison Card Show, because I can't have it on the fourth weekend. I could have it on the first or second weekend, but then I'm only going to have 10 dealers because they're going to do the other shows. So that's what you run into. Venues might not always be available. Number one, though, when it comes to venues, is price. Most venues are in the thousands and thousands of dollars. And you're like, well, if you charge this month a table. But if you're doing a monthly, 100 table monthly show, vendors really don't want to pay $100 a table for a one-day show that's a monthly. And say, okay, well, don't charge that much. Charge $50 a table, $40 a table, whatever it is. What if they only have 50 tables? Then you have to rent tables. That's one thing that I found out, that I was fortunate at the Sheraton Hotel. They have 125 tables. What I've come across now, exploring other venues for various shows and talking with other promoters, is, the guys in Rockford, they do the show in Rockford and the show in Janesville, and they have to rent the tables every month. Or every month in Rockford, and then every other month in Janesville. And I'm fortunate because the Sheraton has 125 tables, and they do the setup. I pay a small fee for setup. And they have the little table things, skirts. I don't have to do any of that. But once you start exploring venues, it's like, I called my hometown, small town, but it's right on the interstate, and they have a hotel and a banquet facility. And I called down there over the summer because I was thinking about doing a fall show down there, because there's not too many shows in that area of Illinois. And it was more. I almost said the A word. It was more. Anawan, Illinois, population 800. The rental was more in Anawan, Illinois than what I'm paying on John Nolan Drive in Madison, Wisconsin. And there's more. They only had 50 tables. So I'm paying more than what I'm paying in Madison. They only have 50 tables. I might lose money if I tried to promote that show. So those are some of the things that you're dealing with, and stuff that I didn't even consider. I thought, hey, let's just, why can't you have the, and I'll get people all the time. Oh, you need a bigger show. Oh, it's I don't like it because it's 2 floors. It's in 2 rooms. Well, there's not too many spaces that have 10,000 contiguous square feet. And when they do, okay, the Marriott Hotel in Middleton has plenty of space, but they're too expensive. and they don't, like, when we reached out to them, they said, local events, unless you're getting a block of rooms, and it's like, I can't guarantee. Like, I have people that come in and stay, but I can't guarantee, like, okay, if I have to block 20 rooms, guess what? If only 17 people show up, I have to pay for the 3 other rooms. I ain't doing that. And I'm not comfortable in blocking off rooms. And so there's so much, that goes into it. And I think those are the main points. I mean, it's really pretty simple when it comes down to it, which I didn't know. And so I don't blame people that don't understand what goes into promoting a show, even a small monthly show. I consider my show a small monthly show, even 125 tables. But there's just so much. I was very fortunate into the situation that we found ourselves at the Sheraton. And let's see. Let's go to the chat. Rich says, Diego's in the house. What's up, Diego? Rich says, with my synagogue show, I have to, especially now in a smaller venue, have to have a day when there is no school in session. Let's see. I'm going to run into something interesting in October. It is the same weekend, same day as University of Wisconsin homecoming. And John Nolan Drive is like the main artery to get into downtown Madison. Not ideal. I'm probably going to have some angry customers trying to get to the show at 10 a.m. and they're going to be stuck on the belt line trying to get off. And there's no other way. It's like, well, you can take Rimrock Road, the next exit, but guess what? So are other people trying to get downtown because they're all trying to get into, because John Nolan Drive is basically the only, unless you go in from the east side or come in from the west side. It's just one street that splits the lake and the lakes. I guess it's Lake Winger on the other side. Let's see. Rich says, in fact, next year I can't even do the show the same day as Purim Spile rehearsal, so I'm even more limited. So I suspect going forward I will have the 20 to 25 tables at Memorial Day Sunday, Monday, and Labor Day Sunday, Monday. Yeah, there's so much that goes into it where, the venue may be tied up, or, what if if you're doing like a 25 table show, if you're doing a 25 table show and it's like your dealers, some of the main dealers that you depend on, can't do it. You can't really schedule around dealers, I guess, per se, but there's a lot that goes into it. Like, think about planning. Like, think about your college buddies or your high school buddies when you plan a summer. Like, the older you get, and especially when you have kids, like, I don't have kids, but like many of my friends do, our friends, and trying to get together just for like hanging out is difficult. Oh, we can't do it this day because we've got soccer. Oh, we've got concert. We've got this. Oh, we're going on a week trip to up north. And there's just so much. And imagine that on a scale of, a card show. John says, people don't realize you typically rent 4 walls when you do a show. Everything else, such as tables, internet, power, etc., is a la carte. It is. And that's why I'm so fortunate, because I've explored other venues and, bigger venues. Once you start growing, it's like, okay, I've grown out of this room. Now I'm in the hallway. I've grown out of the room and the hallway. Now I'm downstairs. I grew out of that second room also. I experimented with a third room. They gave me the wrong count on tables, and that, it's like, okay, well, this was live and learn. So now it's, start exploring bigger venues, and it's like, here's the price. It's like, okay, I can make it work. Oh, but tables are $10 each. Chairs are $2 each. It's like, all of a sudden, oh, you want this? Just like John mentioned, you want this, you want this. It's a la carte at most venues. This is how it happens in bigger venues such as the expo centers. Absolutely. Even some smaller venues are the same way. Rich says, I used to pay $150 for the room setup. The hotel was where a lot of people went after the first place I ran shows was sold, so they bought the tables. Brian Wolf, good morning to you. Rich says, there's a monthly toy show about 10 minutes from my house. When I went last month and chatted with the dealer, he said they have to rent all the tables. It's $7 per table per day, but still that's $700 out of pocket. Absolutely. Rich says, yours is a big monthly show. Peru Mall is having their card show on Labor Day weekend. They charge $25 for a table. Yeah, there's a couple, like some of the mall shows are, I don't know how that works because, the overhead on those tables at the mall shows must just be super cheap. Maybe they do them for like, hey, just come in and set up a show for free to bring people into the mall, because malls are dying. I hate saying that word, but the D word, but it's kind of true. Zach is playing catch up. At least your shows are on Saturdays. Trying to schedule stuff on Packers Sundays is a pain. The Packer bye-week Sunday is fall-winter is probably the most expensive slot to book. So the previous show that was held in Madison was a Sunday show. And I didn't like Sunday shows, not from a football standpoint, but because I'm more active and productive, on Saturdays. I'd rather go out and about on Saturdays, and I'd rather just kind of sleep in and tool around the house on Sundays. And then when a show would come up, and that's another reason I didn't really go to the show that much, was it's like, and it only ran from 10 to 2. And it's like at 10 a.m., I'm like eating breakfast, I'm still waking up. Not really, but kind of. And then it's like, oh, it's noon already. It's like, I'm just going to skip it because I've only got, dealers probably going to start leaving at 1. So that was, there were 3 reasons why I wanted to set up a show. And I've talked about that before. One was more space. That was number 1, more space just for customers to walk, not for dealers, but just more space. Even if it was 15 tables, spread it out, because it was in like a small, like if you think of a small hotel, like it was in the Clarion Hotel. So just think of a Clarion or like a Red Roof Inn. Think of those like conference rooms. It was basically in a conference room, enough to put 15 tables and squeeze in like sardines, basically. So more space. Saturday, I wanted to have a Saturday show and longer hours. And so my first show, I think we did 9 to 4, but I had 15 tables. So it was like, okay, let's scale it back. So we did 9 to 3. And I think 9 to 3 is good. Then the hotel wanted me to be out by 3. It's like, well, the contract says 3. So I think I did January 9 to 2, which was okay. And now it's just kind of, 9 to 3. But hey, if it's slow, pack up and leave. Let's see. Events up the wazoo that week. Let's see. Or you have to jump in a plane. There you go. And there's another thing. 5 years ago, many collectors were craving more card shows. I mean, here in Madison, I'm in Dane County. 550,000 people live in this county. And we had one 15-table card show every month, and then they would take like the winter off. So we had like 9 shows a year and 500,000 population. If I wanted to go to like a decent card show, I'd have to go to Milwaukee. or Chicago. And now we've got shows popping up everywhere. It's good and it's bad, and I think the stronger shows will survive. I think there are some shows that people start up because they see green in their eyes. They see, ooh, if we charge $50, they start counting 50, 50, 50, 50. Wow. They don't realize the work that goes into it. Or the paid promotions. They see all the people come in. But a lot of that's through Facebook advertising, and that's an expense. So there's a lot that goes into it that I think most people don't realize. Let's see. Zach and Porter says, I'm excited to get the Cubs auto ball out of my house and into your hands. Looking forward to seeing you. Kyle has a show at what used to be called the Arlington Convention Center, and they charge $65 for each electrical outlet used. Wow. They were nice enough to absorb the cost, but that's a lot. Most malls have tables, and if a mall is not doing well, it is a good deal. Trust me, walking at 8, 9 in the morning, I see quite a bit of mall setup. Let's see. I haven't been to a mall in probably... Oh, wait, I take that back. I was in a mall. I was in our mall in December buying an ugly sweater for our Club 400 Christmas party. Let's see. Cooter says, and I do go to, I don't really go into the mall, but Dick's Sporting Goods is connected to the mall. So when I buy like the cheap baseballs for autographs, not all of those are official Major League balls. I'll buy like the leather, not the synthetic, but the genuine leather Dick's Sporting Goods balls. And I've got some, and when it comes to autographs on baseballs, I have some official balls that fade and look like crap. And then I've got some like synthetic leather balls. Oh boy. that looked great. All right. I'm just going to end the I've jumped the shark. Cooter says, once you get your 2023 schedule set, you need to figure out which Dallas show you're going to make so others can make plans and you can procrastinate on your ticket. Absolutely. It'll probably be, I'm sure it's going to be the second half of the year, just because the new house will be, although we did get our timeline. I don't know if I probably didn't, because we met with our builder on Friday, and it sounds like it's going to be done quicker than we had in. We thought the timeline, now, been through this before. We thought the timeline was going to be a little longer. So we thought, okay, plan this, expect that type of deal. So we were pleasantly surprised with the timeline they gave us. Victor says there are 70 tables with former Cub Tim Stoddard signing autographs. Tim Stoddard, which I've had beers with Tim Stoddard. He was the pitcher who had the big butt in the movie Rookie of the Year. And he was, I almost said actually again, he was sharing the story of how he fell into that role. He shared an agent with somebody. Might have been, was it Kevin Costner? I think it was Kevin Costner. He shared an agent, and I think it was with Kevin Costner in the late 80s, early 90s. And he was in Rookie of the Year. He played the pitcher who had the big butt, but he was also in something else. It might have been Field of Dreams. Because Field of Dreams came out a couple years before Rookie of the Year. So I think it was Kevin Costner he shared an agent with, and I think he had a role in Field of Dreams as like a bit player. And then, I bet he might have played the player. I'm sure it's on IMDb. Somebody is probably Googling it right now. Where's Dan? Dan's always good with that. I think he's sleeping. He might have been a player on the field during the game, although they might have used actual footage for the game. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. I'll report back. Abraham's heading into the office. Have a great day. You as well. There's Mike. What is up, Mike? Zach and Porter says people should not complain about more card shows. I kind of get it. Like 5 years ago, we complained there's not enough card shows, and then now there's too many card shows. And in 5 years, there's not going to be enough again. I guess we always have to complain about something. We're either going to complain about not enough card shows. We complained that there was never cards on the shelf at Target and Walmart a year ago. And now today we complain because there's too much. Now they're overproducing it. No, they're not overproducing it. Nobody's buying it because they're not interested, because some of the Johnny-come-latelys that wanted to flip boxes can't flip boxes anymore. So they're not clearing the shelves, filling their carts with whatever product. So it's not selling. It's not overproduction, just not selling. Fobo balls. Rich is going to listen in later. Let's see. Brian is with us. What's up? Late to the show, but hey, everyone, thanks, Bo, for whatever you said. Hey, you're welcome. Hit the like button. He was in the movie Big. Thank you, Zach and Porter. So maybe it was Tom Hanks. He shared an agent with a big name, like an A-lister. And I thought it was either Kevin Costner or I didn't think Tom Hanks, but apparently he was in the movie Big. So maybe that's what it was. I don't know what if Tom Hanks had a connection with, it was through his agent. So maybe that's how he got hooked up in the movie Big. And I'm sure the agent had represented somebody that was in the movie Rookie of the Year. Brian says, what's up with the video quality? It's superb. Everybody's talking about the video quality, which means I'll probably just have to do the show in here until I get that new router. So card show talk. That's why there's so many card shows on the same weekend. And I don't understand, like, why are people complaining? Like, I just don't get it. But hey, not everything makes sense, right? Ken's cardboard in the house. Why are there so many card shows on the same weekend? He asks. You're late. You're just a little late. So go back and check the replay. But it's very quite simple. I guess I can. Do you have to go to every show? No, and that's the thing. Like, just for, and I guess I can share another thought on this. Like, there's 3 big shows this weekend, and some people are complaining that there's 3 big shows on the same weekend: the East Coast National, the Denver, the Burbank. Okay. There's also the Dallas card show. There's also the Nashville card show. And I know all of these are not like monthly, and they're, maybe every other month, I think in Dallas's case. But even say these big shows are quarterly. Say Denver has a quarterly show, Burbank, Nashville, Dallas, the Chicago Sports Spectacular, it's twice a year. But you have a lot of big shows throughout the year. In a quarter, there's only, do the math here, 12. There's only 12 weekends each quarter. So now you're confined to, okay, if I do a big quarterly show, I have 12 weekends. Okay. But maybe historically, the Chicago Sports Spectacular, it's always this weekend in March. Okay. So now you're down to 11. Okay, well, the Dallas card show was in December, so we don't want to have another one in January. So now, okay, we're down to, Dallas may only be able to schedule 7 weekends. So you start, like, once you have all of these big shows and this small amount, it's like putting a square peg in a round hole. In some certain cases. Okay, Ken says Denver is annual, so that's a little better. They can actually plan ahead better than some of the others. What if the venue's not available? Venue might not be available. Well, have another venue. Well, that other venue might be 10 times the price. So there's so many variables that go into it. It's not just pick a date on the calendar, let's have a card show. And I mentioned Ken early in the show that I'm 2 hours from Rosemont, and the Chicago Spectacular maybe 10 of my dealers, maybe even more now today, but I think I missed about 8 dealers back in March because I had my show in Madison the same weekend as the Rosemont Chicago Spectacular. But it was either that or not have a show at all in March. So if any dealers were upset because they were missing my show, they would have missed it anyway. Because even if I didn't schedule it that weekend, there was no other weekend to schedule it because the venue was booked. So there's so many variables that go into it. Weekends, if the venue's available on a weekend, and then when you're looking at venues, how much is the venue? It's when we talk about the national, where we want the national, there may only be 1 or 2 convention centers, venues in a city that could host the national. And the price just might not work. And then when you take it down all the way down to like a monthly hotel show rental, I shared a story about like my little small 800 population hometown has a hotel and convention center. And when I called down there, they were charging more than what I pay in Madison, Wisconsin, like right off. Perfect location, 2 hours from Chicago, an hour from Milwaukee, 3 hours from Minneapolis, and tables. They only had 50 tables, and only, I think the square footage in that room was maybe enough room for 70 tables. So if I wanted to fit 20 more in, then I would have to rent the tables. So it becomes cost prohibitive at that point. So let's see. Zach says Tim's role in Big is just him on the mound with the Bronx Bombers, maybe just footage of a game. Let's see. Ken says Denver is annual. This info is all from Saber. Brendan Ryan, what is up? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Absolutely. Ken says Denver has a mostly monthly show that is about 25% the size of the annual show. I don't need to go to the show every month because the inventory doesn't change that fast. There you go. We talked about that at the beginning of the show. Some of the shows have the same vendors, and if it's a monthly show with the same vendors, people stop coming every month because, well, it's the same stuff I saw last month. So you only go once every 3 months. Brian says, I'm going to admit, haven't been to a card show in 16 years. And that's another funny thing and I've shared this before, from the year 2014 to 2020, I probably only went to 5 shows. I set up at a show in 2014 in Peoria, Illinois. In 2014. I probably came to the Madison show in maybe 3 times, and I went to the National in 2019. And I might have went to 3 Madison shows. So 5 or 6 shows from 2014 to 2020. And then in 2021, I started the Madison card show, and now I set up and go to other shows. And I'm at 2 shows, at least 2 shows a month, sometimes 3 shows a month. And now I look back and it's like, I can't believe some people haven't been to a card show in 30 years or 10 years or 16 years. And it's like, well, that was kind of me 2, 3 years ago. Not going to, because card shows aren't for everybody. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on card shows. And I just wanted an explanation I just wanted to share my thoughts. Showtime, what is up? Showtime's been a dealer at my Madison show. He's heading out to Denver. Safe travels. Get some good deals. Ken says in 2020, I went to a first show in about 30 years. And that's fun, like hearing all the stories. And especially when it comes to knowing that my Facebook or Instagram advertising is working, I'll have somebody come up and say, I haven't been to a show in 30 years. I saw the ad on Facebook this week and wanted to come check it out. That's cool. I love hearing those stories. So just wanted to share my insight on it's not easy setting up a show, promoting a show, trying to avoid scheduling on the same weekend as other shows because there just might be, it's essentially it can be now or never. Like in March, I was the Madison card show in March, same Saturday as the Chicago Sports Spectacular. It was either schedule it the same Saturday during the Chicago Sports Spectacular or not have a show at all. Those were my two options. Because the venue just wasn't available. So sometimes it's as simple as that. Lance says, yeah, Peoria, Illinois. They have decent little show every year. Wish they had a quarterly or monthly. I'm considering going down to their next show. My buddy Dave is going to set up, and I think it's a Sunday show, and I can't remember the date on that. Do you know the date off the top of your head? I wanted to look that up because I set up at that Peoria show at the River Center, the Riverfront, wherever that is. Back in 2014. Ken says, good to have a monthly show because not everyone can make the date for every month. Maybe get different customers. Definitely not even different customers, different vendors. I've got a nice rotation. I've got my regulars that, they're there every month or maybe have to miss a month here and there. But I have my regular vendors, and then I have, it's kind of like a third, and a third. A third are regulars that are there like every month. And then I have a third that are semi-regular, maybe do 6 to 8 out of the 12 months. And then I have kind of the one-offs where they may come once or twice a year, whether it be they're just not full-time, card show people, or they're coming in from Kansas City or Fargo, North Dakota, or my very first show, 15 tables. I had a dealer from Florida, and he came in. He basically just travels the country setting up at shows. He called me yesterday. He called me, and I had just sold the show. I was just waiting on a couple confirmations, so I had to turn a few dealers down. He was one of them. It's like I would have liked to have him back because I want him to see how much the show has grown, because he was a dealer at the very first show. He was the very first guy that showed up. He beat me to the venue. Would have loved to see his reaction on how much it's grown from that 15 table show in April of 2021 to 125 tables in 2 different ballrooms in the mezzanine. Brian says, maybe I'll start my own monthly card show. Quincy needs some love. There's a lot. And that's the thing. I'm here in Madison, and this is a great area. There's card shows. There's several card shows. Madison, Janesville, Rockford, Schaumburg, Woodstock, Oak Creek, New Berlin, Racine, Stevens Point, semi-regular, Green Bay, semi-regular. I think there's a show in Appleton. There's a couple times a year over at the mall in like Eau Claire. There's a lot of shows. But there's areas like I mentioned Anawan, Peoria. Lance says there's one show, Peoria, huge area. There's a big collecting base in central Illinois, one show a year. The Quad Cities doesn't have many shows. When they do, it's like a 20 table show. So there's just, even though it seems like there's a lot of card shows, some areas are a little deprived. My battery's going dead because I didn't plug in my laptop. Let's see. Lance says Cave Collectibles hosted. Last year it was at Lakeview Center, not the Riverplex. Do you break even on show promotion, or do you get some profit? There's some profit. There is definitely some profit. If I was only breaking even, I would likely not do it because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of headaches. Herman, I don't know if Herman's still in here, but he was with me and he saw it firsthand from Friday during lunch. I'm on my phone getting cancels and going through my list of who's on the waiting list, going to the hotel and the venue's not set up the way it's supposed to be set up, and moving tables around, promoting, and just generally speaking, if I did not make a profit, I would not promote the show. At least at this, if it was on a smaller scale, yeah, definitely. But on this scale, it's a lot more work. If it was in one, ideally I could be in one big room. That way I could set up. Like, I'm I'm losing money on, selling. Like, yeah, I can fill those tables, but I could make more money even selling quarter cards than, what I'm charging for the tables. Herman says, yep, I know why Bo's hair stands up. He's always pulling it out. Yeah, that happens. That happens. Like, so that's what I had today. My battery's about to go dead. I'm glad that my Wi-Fi strength is very good in here. So I might have to just suck it up and come out here and do the show, because if the stream is better, obviously that's the best. So have a great day. Today's Thursday, so today's like part 1 of Card Show prep. Madison Card Show this Saturday, 9 to 3 at the Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, 9 to 3, free admission, 125 tables, sold out show. I'm looking forward to it. Zach and Porter are coming in. We've got Victor coming in from Chicago. We've got Abraham coming. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I've got some vendors that I'm looking forward to shopping with, whether it be bargain boxes or pre-war Cubs, kind of both ends of the spectrum. This Saturday, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, Madison, Wisconsin, this Saturday. So hope to see you there if you're in the area. Back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central for Hobby Evolution. No show on Saturday. I will do a walkthrough, though, on Saturday. Kind of depends. Unfortunately, like, my best time to do those live videos is during Hobby Hotline time slot at Hobby Hotline this Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central. So that typically is when I can get free, and that's when my downtime. And I also kind of want to show. It's kind of like a balancing act. I don't want to do a live when it's like packed, because I want to like take video of the tables to show you what cards are at the show. But I don't want to walk around and there's nobody there. And it's like, well, your show sucks. There's nobody there. Why would I want to set up? So it's kind of a delicate balance when I do the live videos. But I will do a Madison Card Show live at some point Saturday morning, probably in that 10 to 11 a.m. time range. So looking forward to that. So baseball card curmudgeon, what is up? Peoria, home of Jim Thome, Limestone Rocket from Bartonville, Illinois. Tracy, good morning to you. Have a great day. Just in time to catch the end. So hit the like button if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel. Let's see. Saturday night, I do plan on, I might go live Saturday night to rip during the epic Florida State versus Duquesne football matchup. I think that's a 4:00 kickoff. The primetime games are even worse than that. So I think they call it week 0. Joe Girardi, yes, Joe is from Peoria. Joe went to East. He's from East Peoria. And Ben Zobrist is from Eureka, which is just outside of Peoria. And the only player that's been the number 1 overall pick 2 years in a row. What was his name? David Clyde. He is from Peoria also. Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan was born in Tampico, Illinois, which is about 20 minutes from where I grew up. And then I think he moved to Dixon. He grew up in Dixon. And then he went to college in Eureka College, which is the hometown of Ben Zobrist. Let's see. Had a buddy play minor league hockey for the Blues in Peoria, the Rivermen. Let's see how long we can keep Bo going. So I'm going to wrap it up there, though. I need another cup of coffee. So have a great day. Thanks for the great chat. Always fun. Glad the Wi-Fi worked out in here. We'll talk tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central. Like and subscribe. See you Friday.